If someone confesses to a priest a very heinous, serious crime, what is the priest's moral obligation? Okay. Father David Michael Moses said, if someone confesses a deletion of another human, what do you do?
Father, if someone comes to you in confession and confesses that they murdered someone, what do you do? What's up, guys? I'm Father David Michael Moses. I'm a Catholic priest, and this is one of the more intense questions I get. Now, this question is obviously referencing what we call the seal of confession.
What is this, confession?
Which basically means that if you come to confession, the priest can't repeat what you say. The priest can't go around saying, hey, did you hear so-and-so did this? Let me give you 3 scenarios to illustrate this point.
I'm curious what the consequences is for a priest if something said in confession leaks out of confession.
That'd be interesting.
Like if you go to confess something and only your priest knows and then somehow it gets out.
Uh-oh.
What's the, yeah, go ahead.
Meet with me in my office, not confession, we're just talking.
Right.
Then that's what we call privileged information. I'm not bound to strict secrecy, but if I went around saying, Sally told me that her husband Joe has a real gambling problem, then that would be inappropriate. It would just be uncharitable. It was privileged information that the person trusted me with. As a spiritual father, I want to respect the personal business of my parishioners. But here's another scenario. If someone in my office, again, not confession, tells me that they poisoned all the water in the city, then I'm obviously going to do something about it. They don't have the right to keep me in secrecy just because we spoke in my office. Right. If someone tells me outside of confession, even in private, that they are going to harm themselves or someone else, or that there's a grave danger that either of those things might happen, I am bound by love and often by law to act on that information appropriately.
Pause it.
But
this is in the state of California. I don't know where else it is, but you are a mandated reporter. You ever heard this phrase?
Yep.
So if someone confesses to you or someone tells you something and it potentially involves something that is illegal, you are legally mandated by law to report it.
Well, my wife worked in childcare and she's a mandated reporter under that. So, and she worked with littles. So if there was any inkling of some sort of abuse, then she was mandated to report it. Crazy.
Yeah. So it's interesting how that doesn't apply to priests.
Yeah. Interesting.
if you come to confession, we're clearly in the sacrament of confession, we're going through the ritual, then whatever you say in confession, I cannot repeat under any circumstances. We call it the seal of confession because the sins are sealed in secrecy. No matter what sins are said in confession, the priest cannot say or do anything about them. He can't even treat the person differently afterwards. And
so you were saying from your memory, and I'll follow up with Father Simon.
We got to maybe bring him back on.
Yeah, maybe bring him back on. That sometimes a priest can withhold communion based on something they know. I don't remember him saying that.
So I remember a priest that we had on say, whether it was on camera or off camera, I'm pretty sure this was off camera because I couldn't find it in the podcast, that he couldn't, if someone came to him, he couldn't report it to the police, but he could withhold
forgiveness potentially.
I think withhold some sort of like
that's crazy
forgiveness. And that might be a stretch. Forgive me, Catholics. So I think the most charitable version of it wouldn't be withhold forgiveness, but he would say his confession is not complete until he does the things,
the penance,
yeah, sure,
or go confess to a crime. The Occupy Till I Come 60-day devotional is back in stock. This is taking you through the entire narrative of the scriptures in 60 days with custom daily devotional prompts. So what you're doing is you're spending 35 days in the Old Testament, 25 days in the New Testament, going over all the major stories. There's additional reading for you to go deeper if you want to go deeper on the stories. And you can get them right now bundled up with a virtual ticket to our Bless God Summit. Bless God Summit is coming up March 27th, 28th, 29th, in beautiful Southern California. My favorite podcasters, apologists, pastors, preachers, entrepreneurs, all in the same room. Day 1, we're talking about apologetics. Day 2, we're talking about virtue. Day 3, we're going out into the marketplace and being the hands and feet of Jesus. This is going to be a wonderful event. And what you could do is you could actually get the devotional bundled with the virtual ticket for only $65. So go to blessgodshop.com, get yourself a 60-day devotional. I promise you the feedback on these has been crazy. You will love it. Designed by my guy, Josh Nadeau from Sword and Pencil. The beautiful artwork, okay? So go to blessgod.shop, get yours now, okay? Mean the world to me.
Yeah.
Because the tricky part about this is what if it's not deletion of a human? What if it's a person who has access to little kids, harming little kids in terrible ways?
That's interesting.
I would assume there has to be some sort of consequence.
If there's an active threat.
Yeah, because I think about 1 Corinthians chapter 5, they're knowing that there is a Christian amongst them who is sexually immoral, sleeping with a stepmom, and Paul says to expel the wicked.
Yeah.
So I wonder if a priest has that same kind of obligation. Like if you're really wild, if there's certain sins that you're committing and you're just keep coming back and confessing the same thing over and over and over again, what is their moral obligation then?
Yeah.
Because like, okay, one deletion of a human, you don't let that get out, but what about 10?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Father, did it again.
Right? On some Dexter Morgan vibes.
Ted Bundy.
Is extremely serious. If a priest directly breaks the seal, meaning if they tell someone that a specific person committed a specific sin, then that priest is automatically excommunicated or kicked out of the church. It's extremely grave. So let's go to our question. What if the person confesses something?
So you can't let something leak. I get that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Really big, like
Someone say murder?
what do I do? Well, here's the thing to understand. The sins I hear in confession, they don't belong to me. I'm acting in persona Christi, or in the person of Christ. The sins belong to God. I do have a chance as a spiritual father to offer some advice. Really, the confessional is the only place where you can bring your deepest, darkest things and know that it's going to stay there. But that freedom gives me the chance to help you see how important it is to be sorry for the sins and to try to repair any damage caused by them. I can say, hey, this is a problem. We need to make sure this never happens again. If the person has committed a crime, maybe we need to talk about the possibility of turning themselves in. But I couldn't require...
Okay, well, that's good. I mean,
Okay.
talk about the possibility of turning themselves in, but he says you can't require them to.
Okay.
anyone to reveal their crime. For example, a priest cannot make someone turn themselves in for their penance. I could suggest
So maybe I misheard.
Maybe you misheard
what
Father Simon.
Yeah.
it, but at the end of the day, that would be up to them. If someone else is being charged with a crime they committed, that injustice should be rectified.
I will say that seems fair though, withholding the penance.
I
just
would
be
think
like,
so.
You come back again.
Yeah.
Come back later.
Go clean this up.
I'll go visit you in jail, and we'll do this properly.
So if someone comes to me in confession and confesses that they murdered someone, what do I do? Well, I forgive them
Yeesh.
in the person of Christ.
Oof, that's heavy.
That's the power of what Jesus did on the cross. What he did is enough. Even for murder. What Jesus did is enough. For what I've done, it's enough. For what you've done. So, if you've been away from confession for a while, today might be a really good day.
I will say, that's a great pitch for confessional though.
It is. It is a great first.
Because there's some guy that's like, man, I don't want to confess to my addiction,
Yeah.
right? And he sees the videos like, oh, they can't even say anything about.
Yeah. No, that's
crazy.
That's a great point. Yeah, I think it's a great pitch for confession. I think it is
Great ad.
Yeah, great ad.
Run it all over.
Yeah. I think it is hard to, when you start thinking about the more weighty things and how to process that, I think that is hard. I think it is hard. And goodness gracious, would I never want to be in the position of a priest, because that is brutal. We are...
Someone says, what if a priest confesses to another priest in confession that he broke the seal of confession?
We are actually possibly going to do something with Father David Michael Moses. So stay tuned for that. And maybe we'll have Father Simon on. I think it'll be fun.
He said, so hypothetically, if someone confesses that they just poisoned the water of the city, and you as the priest living in the city would die too if you drink the water, would you act differently? Would you avoid drinking the water, or are you bound by Christian law to act no differently to avoid revealing the person's sin, excepting drinking the poisoned water?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't think he responded to it, huh?
Maybe you know what to do?
Huh.
We should react. We should bring up some of these top, most interesting comments when he comes back on here.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Boom, I just saved it.
That's a great idea. Hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to comment below and subscribe and all that good stuff. And check out this other video that YouTube seems to be recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.